You coming with me?
Are we gonna go milk the goat?
We're gonna go feed the babies.
Outside?
Oh, yep, that's where they are. Let's go milk. Let's go feed them. Hey, little babies.
Hey, Merce. Hey, get Mac. Get Mac.
Come here, Matt.
Mac. Mercy. Wait here.
Look at that little tail wag. Why is that so cute? You wagging your tail, Ben? They are so cute. Hey, ladies. Hey, Miriam, girly. Oh, Miriam is stringing me along. She's very close, but still has ligaments. So no babies yet. So Mac and Mercy are doing well, and I actually need to go get the twin bucklings and move them out here because it is time for them to get out of my living room. So these guys are about a week old. Tomorrow they'll be a week old. And we're going to go ahead and put them out in the yard with other goats. They're starting to bounce off the walls of... They're starting to bounce off the walls of their little tub in my living room, so I want them out of my living room.
They'll need bottles too. Just warning you.
Just warning you. All right.
Boy.
Wow, I don't realize how big Mac and Mercy are until I put these little guys next to them. They've grown a lot. Oh my goodness.
You got me.
Now he's it.
You're going. Now you gotta tag me. You just tag.
What'd you say?
Mac's my best goat friend.
Your best goat friend.
Is that right, Mac? Mac?
These guys are doing exactly what the other two did. When we first put them out, they're like, what has happened to...
The world was a black box.
I know. This is definitely a change. There's your babies, Bear. We call Bear Uncle Bear with the baby goats. Maya, look at all this green coming in over here. The trees are budding. The grass is coming back. It looks like spring. So nice. This is gonna look so vastly different in just a little while.
What's the plan? Are we putting potatoes back here or moving them?
I was gonna put them down there.
So what are we gonna do here?
I'm still deciding, actually, yeah. I may put the sweet potatoes up here where the potatoes were last time. And then I've also got down there, which I was thinking about doing the potatoes. I probably need to decide. You know, we got the tractor back from my dad, and that's what I was kind of waiting on. And now, like, we could plant potatoes tomorrow, which would be the same week that we planted them last year, which worked out just right. Here back by... You doing the garden dance? Look at this bin. Oh, they don't have much root on them. These are turnips.
Turnips?
Yeah. Where are you taking that?
Right here.
Oh. Come look at this high tunnel, Benjamin Peter. All right. Come on, Bear. So this is where we harvested the Brussels sprouts, cut them off, and then they grew back these little plants and started to flower. Isn't that fascinating? So this week, getting serious out here about getting this reset is like one of the top of the priorities. Planting the potatoes and getting serious about resetting this space. Look at all these little carrots coming up. Some of them are a little bit late, but they are coming. Curious to see how they do. Normally this would be a little late for me to have carrots because in the front garden they tend to not do very well when it gets hot. But out here they're going to have the shade cloth over them. Got some beets and some lettuce. There's a lot of random stuff in here. Look at these majestic pigs coming down with the light behind them. Hey, pigs. What is it about look at them, like glowing like they're angels, little angel pigs. Yeah, that one back there got sidetracked at the creek. They're so cute.
You know how the ducks have just been laying wherever they want? They
Yeah.
don't lay in one spot. So every time I find an area where they're laying, they're like right here by this gate for some reason.
Yeah.
I've just been collecting those for tomato planting.
Oh, yeah. I used duck eggs last year.
They're bigger.
Yeah, they're bigger.
There's more egg in the hole. You know?
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I shared a video about planting tomatoes and how I always put an egg in the hole underneath the tomato. And Maya was just telling me how he saves those he's been saving the duck eggs because we'll find them sometimes. We don't know how old they are, which you can float eggs. And if they float, they're no good. And if they sink, they're probably fine. They're fresh. Although we were in the great egg drought of 2021, things have finally changed. You gonna try to get him to go down there?
Yeah, we're gonna move the whole pen tomorrow. 3.
I got this cute chicken.
5. 7. 9. That's 9.
Sweet.
Who is that?
I think it's Roadrunner or Rodette.
Roadrunner or Rodette?
It's probably Rodette.
Yeah, with her big fluffy pants. She's a sweet girl. She's a cochin.
Do you go under the chicken coop?
Hey, man. Time to go on a mission.
Think about it.
Daddy needs your help.
Put the chicken down.
You gonna climb in, Ben?
Okay. Okay. Climb over the top.
Walk on the wood pieces, okay?
You over? There you go. Hey, get those eggs that they laid in there like a bunch of wackos.
Do I have to work in the wood?
Yeah, just step on the wood. It's like don't step on the crack or you're falling.
Don't not break your mother's back.
Yeah, don't do that. Good job. Here's one more. These were not in here yesterday, so that's actually a dozen for the day.
Okay.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. We've been getting between 12 and 20 eggs every day since the chickens just decided to start laying again.
Yep. Like the last time I gathered, we actually had 2 days worth and it was 40 eggs.
Yeah.
Moving them tomorrow to a fresh spot with more green, because this was like completely green 2 days ago when they got here.
I have an idea.
What?
What if we just let them, what if we put their fence around the compost pile and let them just scratch through that? I mean, they'll inevitably like spread it out some, but that would be okay.
Yeah. My only concern with that
Is them flying over the
flying
side.
over because of how high it is. If we flattened it out some and then put them on it, that'd be okay.
And then we could let them spread it down here, even though it's not fully broken down, so I don't know if that would work. But then we could plant stuff in it here on this side of the egg tunnel. And have more garden space.
That's always the way this goes. No matter what we're talking about on the farm, it always goes to, if we do this, it will lead to planting more places on the farm.
Listen, Maya, I can't help it. Everywhere I look in the world, I just see the potential gardens.
Like, look, right here. Look, perfect.
That is perfect.
If we take some boards and we just run it along this top of the trailer right here, and block it in like a big mobile garden bed, then we could drive it around and people could just harvest their own stuff right out of our mobile garden bed.
Genius! That's a great idea! I guess, sort of. We need some sort of cover.
Guys, come. Oh my gosh. That was the big problem there? Not the fact that that's the trailer for moving stuff around?
So today's Sunday. It is the first day of spring. I believe today's the first day of spring, right? Did that hay get caught when y'all went and got those bales the other day?
Yeah, I guess. I didn't notice it.
Is it bothering you?
It broke one of the brand new boards I was putting in.
Oh, man.
It is what it is.
Jeremiah gave this trailer a makeover, and it is very lovely. You did a great job, Maya.
Thanks.
All the boards were rotting out and all the stuff. He had to do some wiring.
Rewired the whole thing.
Yeah, it looks
Got it
really
painted.
nice.
Looks brand new.
Are you giving the goaties a snack you found for them? Okay, so I just looked it up. Yesterday was actually the first day of spring, which you would think I would know that. But for me, like as soon as I walk out that first morning and like you can just feel the difference, it's like it's spring. It's springtime, which is all I really care about. I transitioned into thinking spring at least 2 weeks ago, but it is now officially spring. Now, it is kind of a normal thing for me on a Sunday afternoon to kind of go around the farm and figure out like what my next steps are. I want to put these daffodils in every video because they just don't last long. I cut a lot off of my roses today, and I probably didn't cut enough, but I did cut a lot. I pruned all my roses today, and I have the scratches all over my body to show for it. I was not exactly careful doing it. And I fertilized them with some, I'll show you the bag, I can't remember what it's called. I just got it at a feed store locally, but hopefully I did it okay. I've got growth back on my limelight hydrangea. See, I feel like I should have pruned those down more, but I'm not sure. I was a little late doing it, so I was nervous. Lots of seedlings coming back up and things coming back. We're gonna need to address all our walkways before too long, or it's gonna be really weedy in here. Everything seemed to have taken to the green stalk well. Things looked a little droopy the day after, but they've mostly perked back up now. This is the rose food that I got. I'm gonna try a couple of different kinds and see. I don't have a preference because I don't really know, but I know I like Happy Frog stuff. Their other stuff that I've bought has done pretty well. So this isn't like a suggestion by any means because I have no clue. I've used a few different kinds of rose foods before, and somebody was just telling me recently to just put alfalfa meal on them. I just grabbed that the other day because I knew that it was about time to put something on them. I'm really, really excited for the roses to bloom again. Today, as I was pruning that rose bush, it really just struck me how documented our journey here on this farm has been through YouTube. Just in an extraordinary way. I mean, I remember getting those. I got those rose bushes for Mother's Day, and we put them on. It's the Tangerine Skies Arbor Rose. And whenever they bloom, they're extraordinary. They were absolutely breathtaking last year. But when I put them in 2 years ago, I almost took them out because they were so slow growing up over that arbor. And I had envisioned like a big, covering. And they didn't do it the first year. But last year they were 100% worth waiting for. And I'm hoping to get a good show out of them again this year. But it did strike me how very documented our journey has been here. All the little things. I get comments all the time where people will go back and they'll watch old videos or earlier garden tours or, videos on how to build the garden beds when we were first building them. And people will say things like, wow, it's so cool to see how far you've come. I've been a little bit like in a very like going down memory lane feeling today and processing just some different emotions and stuff being in a season of transition. And, change is hard, and we are making strides towards moving to a new property. And the plan has been to move by the end of this year. Since 2018 is when we really made our mind up on that, and we really just felt like that's what we were being led to do. But now it's coming down to it, and it's actually like time to make practical decisions. And the weight of it it's heavy. And right now, I've shared this a lot this last few weeks, and I want to be really transparent with you guys because a lot of times you guys will see it anyway. You'll be like, Jess, you seem a little off. And I'm not off, but I'm definitely processing a lot of big feelings. And whenever my kids sometimes are having a hard time and I'll be like, hey, what's going on here? I've taught them to be like, I'm just having some big feelings, because sometimes it seems to affect other things when you're having big feelings. And so I am like totally on this like spring high, and it's my favorite time of year, but it is bittersweet because everything that I'm doing, I know it's going to be the last time doing it here, and I know that it's right. It's not like when I talk about this, sometimes people come in and be like, but does that mean, are you sure you want to go? Man, sometimes you're going to have to do really hard things and take really big risks to have the extraordinary fullness that is the potential in your life. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's wrong. In fact, I would dare say that a lot of times it means that it's right. A lot of times the things which are hard are the exact things you're supposed to be doing. And in this, like, it's beautiful and lovely, but I'm just having some big feelings. That's really what it is. Look at my little go-getter tomatillos. Aren't those like crazy awesome? They're so tall. This one's almost maybe just a little too stretched, but the, you know, the stem's pretty strong. It's not falling over or anything like that, so I'm not that worried about it. And these tomato plants are looking so good. Now, I separated all of these out a week ago, and then I have some which I have not separated yet. And they are going to be behind their brothers, because putting a plant in its own little pot where it doesn't have to compete for resources is going to make it grow a lot faster. So these look really, really good. I'm very happy with how they look. So my springtime to-do list. Now, how I keep up with all of this is that I generally will have an idea, like this week the potatoes need to be planted. They could have been planted as early as last week, and I'll sort of have an idea in my mind, like, okay, this is ideal. This is the ideal window. They could go early here. They could go late here. And sort of just try to stay in the confines of that. And then at the beginning of the week, I just take a look at our like calendar and what we have coming up and, you know, just whatever our plans are. And I try to accordingly structure out goals for myself that week, like amend these beds or prune the roses or separate the seedlings and different things like that. And then I'll go around and walk the farm and just sort of make a list, like this needs to be done and that, and I sort of order that in importance, and I'll usually keep it in my phone. I'll keep like a note in my phone. Now, as the spring progresses and into summer, I go around every night and make that list for the next day, because there's so many different things to do. And there's things just change so fast, you know? I mean, like, you can be like, wow, I didn't realize this was ready to be harvested, but now it's time. And as long as I stay on top of things with a good solid list and a to-do list in mind, it does not become overwhelming. And sometimes things don't get done, and that is also just, it's just gotta be okay sometimes. You just kind of have to have grace for yourself. Now, one thing I did out here the other day was I started seeds for a handful of things. Like, I've got lettuce leaf basil, Genovese basil, Diablo cosmos, Seashells cosmos, Hero cosmos, apricot lemonade, and Rosetta cosmos. So I decided to try something new because I've been getting tagged in a lot of pictures of people starting in these little Jiffy cell things that come as little hard tabs, and then you put them in water and they expand. I've only ever tried to grow in these one time before, when I was a completely inexperienced gardener. The first time that I ever tried to start seeds was in these, and they failed miserably. Like, they did really bad. But I really don't know if that is due to the product or due to the fact that I was a very inexperienced gardener. So I decided to give these a go, because I'm getting tagged and so many people are saying, hey, how, you know, what am I doing wrong here? And my first response is to be like, oh, don't use those, you know, don't use those, they're not good. But then I'm like, but is that actually true? And I don't ever want to give people bad advice, and I'm sure I do unintentionally sometimes, but if at all possible, I'd like to learn the things that I don't know, so I can, you know, help more thoroughly. And I got these and I rehydrated them, and I kind of looked at them and thought, how is the best way to make these work with a product like this, and with anything like peat pots, anything like that, is going to be regulating moisture. So I put them in these little pots, which I've had these forever, these little 5-inch pots, and then I'll also stick them in a bottom water tray. Now, each one of these pots has 9 things in it, and I just started different things in each one. So this is nasturtiums, and I did like some zinnias, I did some Mexican sour gherkins. I am going to start some of these things in other places also, in medium and containers that I'm used to, so I feel more confident with. But I figured if these do well, then I'll just have extra. I feel pretty good about it. I mean, so far they seem to be really awesome. I got these from Grower Solution. But if you have any tricks on growing in these little expanding containers, please throw them down below. I'm assuming that the trick here is just making sure that you keep the moisture right. I'm looking here and I feel like I see a little sprout coming up, but I can't really tell. Man, it is. There's like a tiny, tiny little sprout just coming out of the seed. I just sowed these like 48 hours ago. Not bad. We'll see how it goes. It's a zinnia. I am gonna be like super vigilant to make sure that they don't dry out. I almost pulled that towards me and poured water all over myself. So in this other tray, I started some eggplants, which those are late, but that's okay. We can just grow them later in the season. Now that I have the high tunnel, I'm a little bit more like lax about stuff like that because I know I'm not gonna be putting plants out in like really, really hot heat because I have the shade cloth, which is great. And I also started some marigolds and celosia and then the flowers. And I have a little more space in this tray that I'm gonna be able to start things. And I tried again, like some of the same lettuce leaf basil and different zinnias that I did here. So these were my backups. And also one more tip, and then I need to go inside because I bet Jeremiah's already started the live without me. So yes, I have a seed problem. I love seeds. I love having an array of seeds. I love having choices. I love seed catalogs. They are what wooed me into the garden originally. Now, I went to the farmer's co-op the other day, and it's the local farmer's co-op. We have one in Conway and one in Cabot. Both are pretty close to us, for those of you who are in Arkansas. And they'd gotten in all their spring stuff. So they had all of their starts, which, by the way, I'm gonna do a separate video on this. For those of you who are new gardeners, check your last frost dates. Do not buy basil and tomatoes and peppers and all of that stuff just because you see it at the store and go put it in your garden. Check your last frost dates, watch your forecast. Just because they're selling it at the store, it does not mean it's time to plant it. I feel like that should be a public service announcement. I feel like there should be signs posted at the store because I see people, I mean, even being out this weekend, I saw multiple people buying like flats of plants. And I'm like, guys, we're like 3 weeks out, like simmer down, like don't go kill those plants. So the feed store gets seeds, okay? They get seeds in bulk. Many feed stores do this. It's not just the farmer's co-op. During springtime, they get bulk seeds. Now, they are not always super exciting varieties. A lot of times it's, you know, yellow straight neck squash, yellow crook neck squash, green zucchini, that kind of thing. Usually in their bulk bins, they don't have like tiny seeds like tomatoes and stuff like that. It's usually larger things. But they do get like lots of root vegetables, radishes, turnips. And a lot of times the variety they have is like the most common heirloom variety, like purple top turnips or Clemson spineless okra. You know, the ones that you see in most places. But they are so cheap to go buy bulk seeds there. You can go in and usually they have bags and a scoop and you write it out. And this is many feed stores I've been in. Maybe it's different in other regions, but I'm pretty sure this is fairly common. And I got these just as an example. So this is like a lunch sack bag, and I got one big scoop of sunflower seeds. Okay, I'm afraid it's too windy out there, so I came in here. So this is just sunflowers. And I grabbed these because I thought, oh, some nice sunflower seeds that don't cost a lot would be great to sow along maybe like the front fence line or something like that. And I thought this would be good because I have some packages of sunflowers, but they are like the Pro Mix, the cutting sunflowers, and the Titans, and the ones that I want to put in my garden beds. This bag with this scoop of these sunflower seeds was 68 cents. And that's like pretty common. They usually sell them by the pound, and you can get, you could easily go in and fill your whole spring garden. Now, you won't have a ton of interesting variety, but you could fill your whole spring garden with food for quite literally less than $10. So definitely check in to your local feed stores if you're needing seeds and you don't want to have to buy a lot. That's the other thing too. Like, I mean, you could go in and get small amounts for the things like your root vegetables. They had a lot of green beans. They had okras, squashes. Of course, they get a lot of cover crops because farmers are going in and they're buying bulk of cover crops and fodder crops as well. But I was like, man, I always forget about it. I always forget that it's there until I see it. And usually they are more basic things, so I don't usually buy just a ton of seeds there. But I've bought my green beans there plenty of times, because if you're trying to sow a lot of green beans, buying them by the pack can add up. And they sell like the varieties I like they had, this feed store had like the Kentucky Wonder and the Blue Lake Bush and some different basic ones. But I definitely suggest checking it out, or at least know it's an option. It's another good thing, like if you're trying to help people with seeds, but you don't necessarily have $100 to buy them, like an order from somewhere. You could go in and buy scoops and package them up and be able to split them up and give them to people. I specifically left that bag of sunflower seeds right here by the door, so I'd remember to tell you guys that. Well, I'm gonna go inside because we gotta go live. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you so much sticking with us through this process. And again, I was talking about things being documented. It's just incredible. It is so incredible to me to have been able to share all of this with you guys throughout the whole process and to continue to do that. Even the big feelings. I'm bless y'all. Until next time.